So let's take a look at various ways we can design function which draws curve in R, right? So basically we'll take a look at those means to draw curve in R, right? So the first thing that we are going to do would be we will be creating one R script, then we will create a function that will generate this curve, right? So say if I call for a function, right, that takes x as an argument, right, within which I can call for sine function, which is basically going to generate output, right? So that output will be most likely be through our square root function, right? So sqrt function takes this square root, right, and then we will be basically calling our curve function. This is part of base package which will take one function, and let's say from equals to -7, then 2 equals to +7, right? So if I choose to run this, it will generate this function. We can view it, right? So it will look isolated like this, right? And when we run curve, it will generate the curve for that, right? So from -7 to 7, it will appear like this. If you want to change this to something like, let's say, -8 to 8, that is also possible, right? Your curve will vary slightly. So let's go with the default 7 to 7 and run this again, right? So now what we can do is we can also create a custom curve with things like line width, right? So let's try and add, say, call for this set to 2 and line width set to 3, right? So if I run this function and then run this curve, you will find the line color along with line width. You can experiment with this width set to 1, right, and then set to 2, right? So these two things, first being designing my curve, second designing this custom function where we are passing line width and color, right? Simply we can also design line and point curve, right? For that we will get rid of color and line width and simply call a parameter named as type, which is O. If I run this, notice that it will line and point add it to that curve, right? So line and point may feel like some sort of a necklace sort of stuff, right? They are basically just connecting through that, but they are pretty much drawing the same thing, right? So what we have done from the start is we create a function for designing our curve, then call that function through curve function and set the boundary from -7 to 7, right? And we, in custom curve, we also set the boundary -7 to 7, also set the color to 2 and line width to say 3 or 2 or 1. We can experiment with that. Then there is a line and point curve which basically uses one parameter called type. We send O to that type, right, and it will draw something like this, right? There is also stairs plot. So in that case we will just use S and we will try and redraw this, and let me zoom in to show you. It looks like a stairs going down, upwards, and looks and feels pretty much like stairs, right? What if I choose to do something like histogram? I can do that too for my curve. So if I run this by passing in h to the type, and run this, zoom this, it will feel like histogram, right? But notice that this is made of purely line. You don't have proper bars here. Instead it looks like a line, right? So what we have done so far, we have designed the curve function, then we created a custom curve, then we also created line and point, right? And we also designed the stairs, right? Also designed the histogram, right? Now what if I choose to add curves to this on the top of using the color and line width? So let's go back to that old color where we have color 2, line width say 1, right? So adding to that, one more time we can use curve function, and here I can use cos, right? Then color say 4, then line width say 3, then add true, right? So what we are adding, we are adding curves. So run the first function, right? Then second function, and it will add multiple curve, one being red, one being blue, right? So let's revise again, and this time you will find we have created the curve function, then we customize the curve with color and line width, also customize it with line and point, right? And pass the type O. Then we have stairs plot where we are passing the type S, and histogram where we are passing the type H. Also we added the curves with color and line width, and also with addition of curves, which is one more curve, this time using cos instead of our sine values, right? So this was with base package, right? So we didn't have to call for any external library. Now you may feel, if I want to use any particular external package, like say we have ggplot2 or any other package, we can do so. So for ggplot we can do this. So let me clear this up, right? So I can go to tools, install packages, and use ggplot2. If it's not installed, it will be installed in that case, right? So once we have ggplot, we can type in a command here. That command will be library ggplot2, right? Now what we can do here is we can write a plot where we are calling ggplot function, pass data equals to data, right? So here however we will have to create the data frame, right? So in case of data frame we can use x equals to, we have few values say from -3 to +3, right? And then we go for our other data, a is set to x, right? That's one part. Then we call for stat, so this p data, then called stat underscore function, right? And then we call for function set to dnorm, right? And then we will call for value of n as well, which is 101, right? So if I run the library ggplot2, it is being called, right? Now set the value of p, we got the value of p, we can view that, right? As you can see, it will show you data, scales, mapping, coordinates, facet, plot, environment, and labels. All of that is available if we choose to click on this particular data from the environment, and it will show you the view. Now let's come back to p plus stat function, which will take our data, right, and further process it to draw the curve. And there you go, x and y. You may feel like legend part missing here, but based on the data available we don't need it either, right? So if you go with some population data or so, you may need the legend along with the density curve for which you will be filling the area, right? So basically we created curve through various options within base package. We created the curve, customized it with color and line width, then added line and point curve, stairs plot, then histogram, then also added the curves into it. Finally we also looked at the GG plot, where we have this way of drawing the curve on our plot, right? So these are some of the ways that you can use for designing the curves in R, right? So if you are making use of any custom graphics library, or if you are using any particular graphics for drawing that curves and various graphical functions, then you can do so, but these defaults are like this.